So what the build that will be shown today will be on Fighting Spirit, vertical horizontal spawn. So around 8 out of 10 ZvPs right now in these spawns will become gate expand right now in current meta. So if you get near spawn, you can link all in. So right now a lot of Protoss are doing 2 Zealot into Nexus. So this is the counter build for that. And even if you start with Overpool, if you make Zerglings in case of near spawn, you need to do 3 Zealots into Nexus. But if the opponent does 2 Zealot into Nexus, you are going, like, this is in case the Protoss does greedy version of it, 2 Zealot into Nexus. So you're aiming for that greedy timing. They have a timing, if they go greedy instead of going for 3rd Zealot, they go 2 Zealot. The most important part about this build, you have to shove the Zerglings inside the lane. Right now, he's really focusing on optimizing this worker income. And right now, when 6 Zerglings reach the opponent natural, there's only 2 Zealots, so you can pressure them heavily and punish them if they go for 3rd. I mean, if they didn't go for 3rd Zealot. So you have to switch these drones around. You have to optimize the mineral count, because if the 6 Zerglings get even a 1 second earlier, it's even more pressure for the Protoss. You have to master your worker handling, so you can optimize your spawning pool timings. If you optimize your income, you'll optimize your lane getting there, and therefore pressure them heavily. So okay, the caption here: since Hyuk is a former pro, at 1 minute 15 seconds, the lanes will come. Regular players under this left-sided mineral starting, it's not too bad to hit that at 1 minute 17, but for pros, 1 minute 15. It's possible. See, 1 minute 15 spawning pool. Your spawning pool has to start at around 15 seconds at latest on the left side. If it's right side, it's around, yes, it's even faster. Left side is 1 minute 15 to 1 minute 17. Right side is 1 minute 12 to 1 minute 15. Big difference. Do it like that, and with 10th drone you go out. The 10th larva will be going. After you have 9 drones and minerals, you're going to scout. Since opponent scout went fast, came fast, it means that you don't have to scout in this case. Why? Because it means the opponent is near spawn because his scout was so fast. So around 1 minute 40 to 1 minute 45 is timing where near spawn probe comes into your main. You're going after that. So okay, so here it says, therefore it means if you don't see anything on 11 o'clock Overlord, opponent's 5 o'clock, and you have to take into account that opponent is going gate first, and then your natural hatchery has to be going there because he'll be harassing you here, like this. You have to be able to expand here. So in this case, in gate first builds, the Protoss normally builds a pylon in the natural and harass you, because you have to take into account that you have to expand on the 3rd. And then you get 6 links first. It's good to get 6 links. So right now you haven't scouted the Protoss base actually, but you have to take into account the possibilities of opponent build. And you have to take into account when you're predicting opponent's build, his starting spawn, his scout timing, and his natural pylon build cancel. So taking into all this account where his probe scout came fast, his scout starting base is on near spawn, and he has harassed on the natural, it's good to go for 6 lings first. That's their best choice.
생각할 수도 있고 프로그램 말 붙이고. 아니 그러면은 만약에 가로에 서치를 가면 되지 않나?
So right now he's going to put one probe on one link.
할수 있는데 가로 서치 가는 것도 좀 아깝죠.
So if you really want to be safe against Protoss, you can go for scout. But right now, under all this information I have, it's not needed. But then, if you really want to play safe, you can go for drone scout.
빨리 봤을 때는 굳이 서치를
You don't really. It's not really mandatory for you to scout with your drone when it's when your opponent's scout came this fast because you know the position.
그 필요는 없거든요.
You don't need to go out of your way to scout.
이러면 이제 베이스 더블인 걸 알게.
Right now, you know it's a gate expand.
이렇게 하고 지금 투질이 돼 있잖아.
So right now, the opponent's position is over here. He has 2 zealots, one in the high ground and one in the low ground, with one probe. Now that you know it's 1-2 zealot expand,
투질이 돼 있으면은 여기서 또 설명을 드릴게요. 여기서
so I'm going to explain right here.
만약에 6링이 바로 뛰어가는데 투질이 딱 떠 있으면은
If your 6 links reach your opponent base and there's 2 zealots, even if opponent goes 9 gate, or at around 255, the opponent cannot have 3 zealots. This is a 2 zealot timing.
질럿이 빠진 게 아니야.
So if you see 2 zealots here, it means that zealots are not out on the map. It's in the base.
알겠죠?
You understand, right?
뛰어갔는데
It's
질럿이
an,
밑으로 빠지거나 이렇게 빼는 사람들이 있단 말이야.
but say that you have 6 links going to opponent base and you don't see the 2 zealots. It might mean that the opponent have pulled out one of the zealots to to say bottom position over there to 6 o'clock.
그러면 어떻게 해야 돼? 내가 6링 이후에 원드론 찍고 가스 달고 이 나머지 라바가 링이 돼야 돼요. 그러니까
So what you do in that case, you make 1 link, 1 drone, put the drone on the gas, and then rest.
라바를 달고 해야 돼.
You use rest of the larva on the links.
가스 달고 이 나머지 라바가 링이 돼.
So it goes on like this. You make the drone, right, and the gas. After six things, you make a drone, you make a gas, and rest of the larva has to be spent on links. So in this case, if the Zerg went 6 links, and Protoss in their response has to be defensive. However, if they have to go 3 zealot into Nexus. However, if the opponent are trying to run by zealots, sneak by their zealots, this is a fight where Zerg is heavily advantaged in.
그러니까 라바를 좀 남겨놨다가
So you have to save your larva. You have to use 1 larva, right?
라바를 하나는 쓴 상태야.
So you already used 1 larva by the time you already reached the opponent's base here, right? At 255?
근데 만약에 입고 봤는데 질럿이 한 마리밖에 없어.
But say that there's only 1 zealot here, and there's only the one on the
사람이 좀 째.
hill. Does that mean that the second zealot either didn't come out or he's doing something really greedy?
그게 원질로 버티겠다는 거야.
So if the opponent is attempting to just defend this expo with only 1 zealot, you can punish that with even more zerglings.
그러면 어떻게 해야 돼? 후속이 링이 돼야 돼.
All your reinforcements needs to be links because the zealot is somewhere out on the map.
촘촘하게 구분하는 방법을 알아야 되니까.
So you must use your brain and know the difference between these slight variances in build.
설명을 드리는 겁니다. 자, 이렇게 하고 뭐 압박하는 거예요, 이렇게.
So you're pressuring the opponent like this.
렉을 이렇게 좀 조져주는 식으로. 이게 뭐야? 이렇게 하면 게임이 아예 터지는데
Well, you're harassing the Nexus like this, but right now the game's completely over because of this. This kind of situation is very rare. So this only happens if your micro defense is too much, or when Protoss has gone way too greedy. Now you're very, very ahead.
거 지금 시도를 하면 안 되는데 일이죠.
So now it's 3 zealots.
한 마리만 붙이고
So in this case, you only have you only go with 9 drones on minerals,
링을 뒤로 이제 언제든지 쌩깔 수 있다는
and all your links you pull back and go upward here, upward motion, so you can threaten run by anytime he comes out on the map.
위로
So you're going upward.
안 돼. 질러
You must not pull your links back in this direction.
항상 알겠죠? 이렇게
Yet
빠지면 절대 안 돼.
you cannot do that. Not towards your base.
그러니까 동선을
So in near spawn position, it's good to go 3 hatch gas into zergling speed into layer. That's the near spawn. Most of the time, it'll be good.
게임할 때 지금처럼 이렇게 빼면은 토스들이 겁을 안 먹고 나오잖아.
So the reason why I'm telling you the direction of retreat is extremely important is because if you retreat towards your base, Protoss can just walk into your base without any fear. But if you go upward, the Protoss doesn't know if you will backstab or not.
또 어디 쪽으로 빼줘야 되냐면 질럿 나오는 거 위로 빼줘야 돼. 그래야지 뒷방을 생각을 해야 되니까 질럿을 놔두고 온다거나.
So your army movement like this can make a whole difference to how the game flows out. If you go upward, the Protoss has to take into account of any possibility of backstab. But then if you retreat towards your base, the Protoss just walks through in your base direction without any fear. He knows where your links are.
근데 그런 상황들이 나오는 건데 그냥 뒤로 빼주면 안 돼요.
You cannot just go up towards your base like that.
링 좀 찍어주는 식으로 할수 있게.
So now that you know,
빼주면 안 돼요. 그리고 지금 선 사이버 박았잖아. 이러면
so opponent went for Cybernetics core before anything else as a tech. In this situation, it's good to go all links after.
링 좀 찍어주는 식으로 할수 있게.
You can go heavy on the links. So it just means the opponent is going for very greedy build. So in a okay, so another note here, in cross position, Cybernetics core first, it's really hard to punish that. But however, if you have near spawn like this, if they go Cybernetics core first, you can go with all links and pressure them heavily afterwards.
선 사이버 보면 바로 이제 대각일 때는 이걸 보고 링 찍는다고 해도 이게 안 되거든요. 근데 가로세
So even if you scout Cybernetics core immediately, Cybernetics first immediately, if it's in cross position, it's really hard to punish. So it's not recommended. But in near positions like this, and you see Protoss tech to Cybernetics core before anything else, any other tech, it's really easy to punish. So you can pressure that.
돼요. 상대가 선 사이버 이게 가로세 걸 때는 말도 안 되게 짜는 거거든요.
So this in near positions like this is just being way too greedy. In this case, you can go with all in, but then you can also go for a pressure build off of 3 hatch, and then you can go after pressuring with speedlings. You can go into no layer 5 hatchery Hydra. So you can go. Your game will be very nice. You'll be in very good position if you go with that instead.
상대가 좀 질럿을 찍으면 좀 짜는 것 같으니까
So right now the opponent's slowly getting zealots and he's being greedy, and his forge is very late.
이러면 대체 펴주고.
So now you get your extra hatcheries.
그러면은 테크도 너무 빠르고 그리고 토지도 너무 늦지.
So right now the opponent's in a position where he's being unbelievably greedy. His tech is fast, his forge is late, and he has a fair amount of zealots. Right now it's an early game. Although you have cancelled the nexus, if you let the opponent get away with this kind of greed, this enormous amount of greed, Protoss can be in a good position again. So you have to punish this.
이게 넥을 한번 취소해서
So you want to try to reduce the zealot count.
말도 안 되게 짠 거야. 이러면은 링으로 무조건 이렇게 소모전식으로 한번 싸워야 돼요 이거는.
So in this kind of position, you must use your links to trade with the zealots, reduce the number count. You have to force trade here because you cannot let the Protoss get away with this kind of greed.
바깥으로 나오는 또 심시티기 때문에 게이트를 계속
So this kind of SimCity is where Protoss has to send the zealots outward.
건드려줘요 이렇게.
So you can harass this gateway.
타겟 줬으면 이제 떼도 따라갈 만하죠.
So right now, you have done damage to the Protoss here. So even if you can go with build your macro build now. So right now you're preparing. So you're preparing backup plan in case this gets denied. This pressure gets denied. So you're going with 973 macro style right after this. So you have a backup plan.
프로브 점사해주고
Cut target fire on the probes. Right now you cannot just let your Zerglings attack command. You have to micro your Zerglings in this case to get the most out.
이럴 때 프로브 점사를 잘해줘야 돼.
Right in this position you have to target fire probes.
이때 프로브를 잘 줄여줘야지 운영 갈 때 좋거든.
So this is timing where you can do damage to opponent's probe line and therefore and then get ready for a really good position later on the game, in the macro game.
지금은 운영 굳이 안 가지겠네.
Right now it seems like the game's over. So right now all my larva will be spent on drones.
이게 약간 한 가지 설명을
So let me explain one more time. Right now the opponent went for way too much greed here.
원래 보통 포지를 짓죠.
Normally the Protoss would go for forge instead of Cybernetics.
근데 제가 아까 좀 중요한 시점이 뭐냐면은
The important part of the build, you have made 6 links. You made 6 links.
상대방 입구를 잡고 있는데 포지가 올라갔어. 예를 들어
Say that you have contained him on the opponent natural, but then he built forge instead of Cybernetics.
그 사이버가 아니고 그러면 이제 토스가 포지로 보통 입구를 좁히고 질럿으로 버틸 수 있으니까 바로 사이버로 간단 말이에요.
So normally in this case, Protoss would go for forge since it can narrow down the sensei, and then go Cybernetics core. But in this case, he went for Cybernetics before forge.
그거는 이제 토스가 쨘다기보다 그거는 그냥 기본적으로 가져갈 수 있는 이제 토스가 그냥 보면서 짤 수 있는 거거든. 근데 이제
So in this case, normally when a Protoss goes Cybernetics core before forge, that means that he knows what you're doing. He sees he scouted you. Therefore, he can go for a greedy build based on your response.
네, 만약에 그 상황이 됐어요. 그러면은 질럿이 갑자기 6질럿, 7질럿 이렇게 있잖아. 근데 갑자기 6질럿, 7질럿 있으니까 무섭잖아. 그러니까
So in that kind of position, Protoss has 6 to 7 zealots, and it's kind of scary for him to have that many zealots.
막 미리부터 링을 찍을 수도 있잖아.
So in that case, you might be pressured to make more links.
네, 링을 찍을 필요가 없어요. 미리부터 바로 새로
But there's no need for you to make links ahead of time.
그리고 바로 끝까지 찍어놨기 때문에 어떤 게 중요한?
So right now, you can't get too overconfident just because you're ahead. You can't skip speed first, speed links upgrade. If you had just gone to layer before getting Zergling speed, opponent can just ignore your possibility of link run by and then just attack with this zealots, which means that you can get very pressured against.
아니야. 상대방 코박히는 타이밍이 제일 중요한 거야.
So right now, the most important part of this whole build, this whole situation, the most vital part is the timing of the opponent's cannons.
만약에 봐봐. 포가 안 박혀 있어. 그러면은 탐지를 냅두고 가야 되잖아. 그러니까
So if he doesn't have any forge, that means that opponent has to at least leave 3 zealots behind to defend when he goes out on the map. So, but then let's say that all the Protoss does is they don't leave any zealots behind, any defensive zealots behind, and he goes for attack with all the zealots he has. In that case, with speedlings, you can go with Protoss. You can go speedling run by into from your 3 hatchery, and then you go all links from your hatchery. Then you cannot lose ever again in that position if you go speedling run by into every single larva spent on your 3 hatch and 2 links.
계속 투질 프로브 한 마리 띄워놓고 가거나 원질 프로브 2마리 아니 투질 프로브 그러니까 원질이나 투질 프로브 냅두고 가면은 질럿이 와봤자 한 5마리 6마리.
So let's give an example here. If a Protoss chooses to go pressure you, and he has 7 zealots, he has to leave 1 or 2 zealots behind. The only thing he can pressure with is 5 zealots here, if he has 7 zealots. So maybe he will leave 1 probe, 1 zealot on the high ground.
그러니까 그거는 그냥 여기서 해처리 세계에서 그냥
So against 5 zealots, all you have to do is just make all links of a 3 hatchery and you'll deny that easily. But because of that, Protoss cannot rule out the possibility of a speed link run by. So he has to leave some army behind to defend against a backstab. However, just because that kind of pressure without all his army can get denied by all speed links from your 3 hatch.
그러니까 포가 안 박혔을 때 급하게 나오는 상대는. 그리고
So this is a special case where the opponent doesn't go forge and doesn't go cannon and he's just coming out to pressure you.
제가 전에 강의에서도 말씀드렸다시피
I told you in previous tutorial, but
나온다는 뭐라고 해야 될까? 이 나오는 그 신호가 뭐냐면 포야. 포 박히는 타이밍.
so the signal that you have to look at, the signal that Protoss gives out that he's going to go out on the map is when the photon cannons go down. So in Protoss' point of view, they have to put down 1 to 2 photon cannons, and then right before it's building, the zealots will come out to pressure. If the Protoss doesn't want to do any kind of rule out play, like he doesn't want to be way too greedy, normally they will put down 2 cannons. But normally they put 1 to 2 cannons to defend as they pressure.
그러니까 항상 나오는 타이밍이 상대방 포를 받고 이제 나오는데 그 타이밍이 이제 내가 좀 위험할 수 있는 타이밍.
So the point of this build where you can be in big danger is when the photon cannons go down. Because that means if the photon cannon goes down, zealots can have freedom to pressure you with all their army. So in this case, you have to defend very well with their Zerg.
그러니까 보통 이제 포가 박힐 때 이제 임박했구나 상대가 나오는 게 그 생각을 하고.
So you kind of have to be prepared. You have to put into account. You have to be ready that opponent will come out with his zealots to pressure as soon as those photon cannon goes on. You have to take that into account.
지금 같은 경우는
In this case, right now,
좁히고 사이버로 짓고 7질럿이 있든 8질럿이 있든 그렇게 쫄 필요 없다 이거야. 포가 안 박히면.
so what I'm saying is, as long as the forge isn't down, no matter if the Protoss has 7 or 8 zealots here, you don't need to be afraid. Because this means that if the Protoss doesn't put down any cannon and tries to pressure you, they have nothing to defend against a link run by.
그게 제일 중요한 거야.
This is the most important part.
상대방이 6질럿, 7질럿 이런 게 있어도 내가 6링으로만 짤 수가 있어요.
So in this kind of situation, if the Protoss doesn't have any photon cannon, this means that with only 6 links here, I can go greedy with my build. Yes, all you have to do is look out, because all because you have a link speed here. You threaten backstab with your link speed, so Protoss cannot afford to go out.
못 나온단 말이야. 그러니까 이게 게이트 더블 상대하는 게
Against gate expand, it's a little different how you respond to gate expand versus regular expand.
포대로만 하면 되는데 게이트 더블은 이게 좀 움직임이랑 임균변식으로 대처해야 되는 게 많이 들어가요.
So right now, response against the difference between regular expand and gate expand is that gate expand you have to deal with it with your unit movement.
그래서 이게 많이 어렵거든. 이게 좀 움직임이랑 임균변식으로
And your prediction.
그래서 이게 많이 어렵거든.
So it's a bit hard to deal with gate expand.
가장 중요한 포인트가 있잖아요. 상대방이 이제 입구에 어떤 건물이 올라가냐, 사이버가 올라가냐, 포지가 올라가냐 이것도 중요하고.
So the most important part about looking at Protoss tech is if this Forge or Cybernetics core go up before each other.
그 다음에 상대방이 포부터 방해야.
And if the opponent goes for cannon or Forge into Cyber.
질럿 아까 보는 타이밍이 달라지죠.
So all that is what makes the difference between when the Zealot would come out on the map. His tech order.
이것만 조금 유심히 개념.
So you have to understand this game concept.
사이즈가 확 달라지거든.
So if you can master this game concept mastery, the way you play your game out will be 100% different.
그게 엄청 중요하니까.
This is the most important part.
뭐 이렇게 생각을 하시고.
So you have to take and play like this.